It's another Friday, and good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. This is another special edition of Ubuntu Sports, and I'm Lawrence on hosting you for today's show with my co-host Reuben. Today it's another exciting program because we have the coach of the women's national team who just won a bronze at the just ended Women's Africa Cup of Nations, Coach Bruce. Now, apologies for having come late this Friday. It was due to technicalities beyond our control. However, the show must go on. Coach Bruce, good evening.
Good evening.
And good evening to you, Reuben.
Good evening, Lawrence. It's good to be on Ubuntu Sports every Friday where we discuss nothing but Zambian sports. And it's good to see the bronze medalist winner in Coach Bruce. Coach Bruce, good to see you and welcome to Ubuntu Sports.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And good evening.
Just to set the ball rolling, Coach Bruce, how does it feel to have achieved this match they just ended the Africa Cup of Nations for the women's tournament? This is the first time that Zambia has ever gone this far. We are looking at the women's national team. How does it feel, Coach?
It actually feels good because just like you have said, it's the first time that the senior women national team has qualified to the World Cup after playing the Africa Cup of Nations. So at the moment, even the mood in camp was it was actually exciting. Everybody was happy. The whole contingent, the whole squad that went to Morocco, there were actually some celebrations until maybe late in the evening. So I think it was nice.
That's awesome to hear. Now, I'm going to take you back to the start of the tournament itself. We had a lot of challenges that came in, especially for our own team, and a lot of us back home were starting to get concerned. We had issues, especially that was most talked about, the issue of Barbara Banda being disqualified. Now, when all these things were happening, how was the mood in camp? And you, as the coach, looking to motivate the girls, how did that how did it make it easy for you, or maybe difficult for you in that line, because you had to motivate them to make sure that everybody was in the right mindset and all that? How did you manage to overcome all these challenges going into the tournament?
Yeah, I think it was not the first time. I'm sure it's only that maybe it was not reported way back in 2018 or 19 when we went to Ghana. The same thing happened, but it was not reported maybe by the reporters who accompanied the team. Even in Ghana, it happened. This time around, we anticipated that, so we had to make we had to prepare other players who can actually take over from her. But even the players themselves, some of them had an idea of what could happen. So it wasn't all that difficult. It was actually very easy to us. Maybe it was difficult to the people outside there because it was like something they never expected. But in camp, it was known. It was actually known because the doctor did communicate to even the other players that were not mentioned, like okay, Rachel Natura, she was not even called. because we knew with her, she had no interest. In fact, should I say, she just said, "No, me, I think I'm aging. It's better I remain the way I am." So that is that's all. But I think it wasn't all that difficult. We were able to handle it properly.
Reuben, you can come in, Reuben.
Thanks, Lawrence. I want to take Coach Bruce a bit back. Coach, what made you to leave the men's football and then join the women's football? And it seems things are working well for you in the women's football. So, what made you switch from coaching the men's football? Because if I remember very well, you were at the club before joining the women's football.
Nchanga Rangers.
Nchanga Rangers, yes.
Yeah. No, it's not that I left men's football. It was just an appointment by FAS. They had no one to take over from the coach who was actually coaching the women's team. So somebody mentioned my name, and I was called to submit my CV. And when I called, it didn't even take long. I think 2 days or so, I was called to go and see the GS. By then, the general secretary was Pongaliwewe. When I went to see him, he just said, "No, here it's like we're handicapped. We need you to assist." So the coaching team that we want to give you, it's the women's national team. Is it possible that you can coach women? I said, "No, I've done this before," because even the time when I was working in the mines, by then I was a sports and recreation officer. I think it was somewhere in 95 or so. We introduced the women soccer within the mining teams. So all the mining teams started women soccer, and the women soccer was being organized by sports and recreation officer. It was under sports and recreation officer. All the CCM teams were supposed to start competing, just like the developmental program. We had on the boys' side, we had the under 16 and the under 18. So by then, the boss who was there was Mr. Swing. He insisted that we should start women's soccer. So it wasn't like switching from men's teams to women. No, it was something that it was just it just came through FAS. So I had no option but to try. So that's how I started coaching the national team, the women national team. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Coach. My other question, Coach, is you seem to have become like a father now to these girls, because you've kept them for a long time now. How easy is it for you now to relate with these girls? Because from the time I started following the women's football, when you just joined, that was in 2018, somewhere there, the same names that I saw playing in Morocco, you kept them playing there at Nkoloma stadiums. People like Chitundu, unfortunately, people like Mary Makapila, unfortunately, she wasn't part of the team, but you seem like you've groomed these people. Barbara Banda, you are the coach that has groomed them. How easy has it been for you, or what are some of the challenges that you face in grooming this and keeping the team all together?
Yeah, I think I've been with the team for 4 years now. This is my 5th year. Like I mentioned earlier on, that when I was working in the mines, I was a sports and recreation officer. We were actually dealing in general sports. So general sports was a developmental program. So I started handling players at the age of 12, 14, 16, 18, and even the seniors. So to me, it's something which is very simple because I've done this work before. Although others think maybe because I was with the men's team, so I've never coached the juniors or the girls teams. The girls team. It's I feel okay. I'm one person who can mix with any age group because of the nature of the job that I was doing. So to me, it's very, very, very simple.
So, coach, this is the team that you picked when they was too young. You had bad results. One of them is like the game you played against Netherlands where you lost 10-3. What keeps this team moving, coach, even when you pick up bad results? It seems like this team does not give up.
Yeah, in fact, when we talk about the Olympic Games, the only thing which actually affected the team, especially the first game, is preparation. Preparation in the sense that, okay, we did our preparation like playing local teams, and the only international games friendly games that we played, I think was only Chile, which was somewhere in November, December, somewhere there. We never had high-profile friendly games like playing in England. You can play teams like France. So when we went to the Olympics, the first game gave us an insight of the game, of the games that we are going to expect or we are going to play. If we had played some high-profile games, especially in Europe, we could have an idea of the type of game we are going to expect when we go to the Olympics. But after that one, after the first game, when we went for our post-match meeting, we analyzed the game and we saw that okay, the way we were defending was not good enough, so we should change the system. From there up to today, the things are just moving smoothly.
Great, coach. So let's talk about the preparation for this just ended with Africa Cup of Nations. I remember you had set up a camp in Morocco quite early, about 3 weeks before the tournament started. Then you played Morocco, and then you had a big loss, coach, against Uganda, 5-0. Then people here back home, we can tell you that most of the people, because that was the time when the issue of Barbara Banda came out, people had lost hope, and you lost 5-0. But what is it that you did for the players not to lose hope after losing that 5-0 against Uganda?
No, in fact, the first game against
Morocco.
the host nation, we used the possible team. So when we played these other two games, the other one we beat that club about 6 goals to 0. People were saying, no, I think it was a weaker side. But when we lost to Uganda, it became a different story altogether. If you remember well, the time we were leaving Zambia, a week before we were leaving Zambia to Morocco, when we announced the team, most of the people were very, very, very upset because they expected Barbara Banda, Kundananji, and Rachel Nachula to be in the squad. But they didn't know what was the reason why we left those 3 players. To them, it was me who had maybe friction with the players, which wasn't the case. It was a different story. The general secretary had to issue a statement, but people kept on passing insults. Others, they were just passing negative statements. That was like they were trying to discourage the new players who were put in the team. So when we went to Morocco, we wanted to try nearly every player so that we don't have a problem when we start the tournament, because by that time everybody could have had that touch, and at least those who had no confidence could now gain confidence. So when we made some changes, that's when things started happening. We were scored, but although we were scored 5, we had more than 5 sure chances. We could have won that game by maybe 8-5 also. By sure chances, I mean chances where you have keeper to beat. So people talked, but we knew what we were doing. We had to speak to the players. Don't listen to social media. It's better you start avoiding reading what people are saying back home. Let's just focus on the tournament we came for. So I think the girls they listened, and they started concentrating. That was now put aside. Then until the first game. The first game was against Morocco, and things happened. We drew, and everybody now knew that everybody who was in the team had now the courage to play.
You're talking about the first game against Cameroon, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But on Uganda, I think I've talked enough about Uganda game.
All right, over to you, Lawrence.
All right, Coach. I'll tell you one thing. We followed you every step of the way right here on Ubuntu. Like we always do on Fridays, we always talk local sports. And the time that the team came out, we had a discussion right here with several other people that are not here right now. We're actually talking about the team selection, and the topic that came out so many times was the absence of Rachel and Kundananji, obviously. But at the end of the day, at that point in time, I should say this: we did not have that much information to know exactly what was happening, and we thought probably we were trying to do something new with fresh players, and that was the conclusion that we had. But at that point, we were also wondering why you would discard some of the team members that you had at the Olympics, especially, and then try and change and bring in a new kind of players and all that. But at the same time, to be honest with you, even after you went with a new team, uh, every sub every sub that came in the game showed the same passion, such that it was difficult to even tell who is missing and who has been substituted, because everybody was playing with the same kind of the heart, of heart and all that. So we are looking at the team spirit that was in camp. How did you get to those levels where everybody had so much belief, everybody was putting in all they had? You could see everybody trying the best, everybody trying to do everything, and everybody trying to direct each other. Hey, you stand there. And above all, we always heard your voice, even on the commentary, calling out these girls. Do this, do that, do this, do that. How did you reach the level of team spirit you had in camp?
Yeah, anyway, I can tell you that okay, our team, our national team, women's team, I'm sure they've now reached a level where they understand the way a system should work. Like if we say, okay, today we are going to use, for argument's sake, we are going to use 1-4-3-3 system. So everybody who is in the team, if you say you are going to play central, you're going to play as a central defender, she will be able to know what to do. She will be able to know her role properly. Or even other players will be able to know the way they are supposed to function. You tell them this is what you're supposed to do. Even if you give the instructions, she'll be able to pick up and say, okay, this is what the coaches are telling me. They are able to understand any system or any tactics that you want to apply. That is the advantage about the team now. So unless and of course they are able to play as a team, we always encourage them to play as a team. When we lose possession, during transition, everybody should know that my role is supposed to be this or that. She'll be able to react fast and do things in the right way. So it has it has given the technical bench some breathing space, because they are, I can just say they are able to understand now the way football is supposed to be played.
Coach, you left with a group of players very little known. Most of the people actually in this country didn't know these players. You came back with stars, actually. These are people that a lot of young girls out there are looking out for as role models now. These are girls who have come in with big names now. Everywhere they go, I'm sure someone will be able to recognize them. Oh, that is Hazel, that is Belemu, that is what. And this is the team that you have brought back home. Does that change anything when it comes to management of stars now? Because these are role models now. We've seen a lot of young girls actually say, "I want to be like Hazel. I want to be like Ochumba." It's a stage they have reached now. Does that change anything in terms of management from your side? How you handle these guys, because now they are stars?
Yeah, but at national level, there can't be any problem. We are only concerned about club level where they are going, because others become big-headed. When they get back to their clubs, you start getting reports like, oh, this one is not reporting for training, this one has missed the game. The reasons they'll tell you, no, these players have become educated, so they want to do what they want. So if they are managed properly at club level, because when they come to the national team, they come maybe after a month or so. So if they are managed well at club level, well and good. With us at national level, there is a lot of competition. If one doesn't to follow what we tell them to do, we will have no option but to use other players. So they know discipline is cardinal. When they come to the national team, it's different. So management should not even change to say, okay, this one is let's give this one VIP treatment. No, that shouldn't be the case. Everyone should be treated equally.
Awesome stuff. We just hope that they keep the level-headedness that they need, so that they can keep on progressing, and because the sky is always the limit, and that is what the whole country, I'm sure, wants for these girls. Now, there are one particular player I would want you to talk about. That is Mary, who actually did not participate at the tournament because of illness and all that. But I should say, for us who have followed this team, we know how important she was, especially when it comes to qualifiers. And she has played a very big role, especially when we before we qualified to the tournament. And unfortunately, she couldn't make it for the tournament. Any particular word for her from you?
Yeah, but okay, for Mary, I still feel sad for her, because even the time when I went to see, I've been to her place in Garden about 3 times or 4. She's okay. It's something that you cannot even forget about. Especially the last time when I saw her, because she can't even talk. She was just like looking at the people who were around. It's a sad story, but I still believe she can can get well and come back to football, because she had that interest of playing football. In fact, okay, club level, at national level, we still miss her. We still want her to come back and start playing a game of football where she left.
We definitely wish her a very quick recovery, because we miss her skills actually on the pitch, even us as fans and all that. Now, if you are just joining us, thank you so much for tuning in to Ubuntu channel. This is Ubuntu Sports on a Friday, and we are looking at the performance of the Zambia women's national team at the just ended WAFCON, joined in the studio by Coach Bruce Mwape. Reuben, you can come in.
Thank you very much. So, Coach, we're looking at the WAFCON success. I want us to go back to the first game against Cameroon. Yes, you have 2 players on suspension, Mapepa and Ochumba Oseke. What was the instruction to the players, knowing that now your team has become more lean because you didn't have the players that you wanted, and then 2 also had facing suspension? What was your instruction to the players? And did you expect that draw against Cameroon?
Anyway, we were just ready for any team. And for the 2 players that were suspended, it was communicated earlier before, I think a month before the tournament. So we had to prepare other players in advance. So that was it was known earlier, not until the time when we went to the tournament. We knew about it a long time ago. So even the players were communicated to that you will miss the first game. So on the 2, I think there wasn't any problem.
All right, then the second match you had to face Tunisia, and that game, it was more like frustrating for you because you had a lot of chances, and we missed until Havel Chitundu had that magic goal. What was your reaction, and how was the technical bench? Because at halftime it was 0-0, coach. Then I'm sure it was more frustrating for you and the technical bench.
Yeah, it was tense because okay, we created a lot of chances, like you have said, both in the first half and the second half. But towards the end, we were like, okay, we can still go with a point, but what we want is it was actually frustrating because if you create about 4 or 5 chances, we should expect at least a goal also. But if you remember the second half, Tunisians were just they cleared some of the goals from the line. I think there were about 3 which were cleared, and we were there trying to celebrate just to find that the ball has been cleared. But we were happy when we scored towards the end, and we knew it was the end because we were looking at time. There wasn't any added time which they can use to equalize. So anyway, in football, that's how it is. You can create chances. Sometimes you can play well, but you fail to score. Sometimes you don't play well, but you are able to score 1 or 2, 3 chances. But anyway, it was frustrating, but at the end of the day, we were there to celebrate. We were there celebrating after scoring the late goal.
Thank you very much. Then when we look at the game for Togo, we saw a lot of goals. It was more like a game that from the word go, we're just attacking and scoring. Were you happy after seeing that? Looking at we are struggling with goals. Then immediately when we went to the game for Togo, we had a lot of goals. Did that give the confidence for the team that after scoring this, the next game against Senegal in the quarterfinal is going to be easy for us? Did that give you the belief to say now the next game is gonna be easy for us?
No, that's not the way it is. In fact, you are talking about the game against Togo.
Togo, yes.
Oh, Togo, not Tunisia. Sorry. Okay. Togo, yeah. Togo, after scoring 4 goals, okay, that game we played well, and the chances that we created, okay, it was like Tunisia. We created chances, but we failed to score. But Togo, it was different. We created chances and we were able to score. In fact, we could have scored more than 4 goals the game against Togo. We missed again some sure chances. But after that game, we knew Senegal, it was going to be a different game altogether. we had to again sit down and plan for Senegal, because Senegal, they had an advantage on us on on height. So we knew they were going to give us a headache, but we had to make sure that we don't give them chance to play aerial balls. Even if they play aerial balls, we were able to challenge, especially in the 18-yard area or 18-yard box. So, okay, Senegal, we never created a lot of chances like the way we created to Togo, because they were also strong, but all the same, at the end of the day, we were able to win the game through penalty shootout.
Yeah. Now, how was it for you to prepare for the Senegal game? Because this was a decider. Whoever wins goes to the World Cup. How difficult was it for you to prepare that game? Because it was tense. Looking at it, the one who wins the game is the one who qualifies to the World Cup.
Preparation sometimes, okay, people might think we should go for training and practice for Senegal game, but the period that you have to prepare for a game is actually limited. It's just 1 or 2 days. The first one, maybe you do recovery. The other one, so mostly it's just about talking. You talk to the players the way you want the game to be played. They'll also be able, to contribute. You give them chance to also contribute, because they are also watching and they are seeing the opponents. So you just talk about the strength and the weaknesses of the opponent. So that is another way of preparing. It also helped us a lot.
Coach, in the team, one thing that we noticed and we were talking about here on Ubuntu Sports was that we see a lot of discipline in your ladies. Even if someone or a referee gives a foul or against them and they receive a yellow card, I would hear you sometimes shout, "Hey, Gile, ref." Like no one would go and complain to the referee or protest. We saw that discipline even the game against South Africa when they were added that penalty. No one seemed to like confronting the referee. Is it what you tell the ladies to do, or maybe because there's too much discipline, they can't complain. Even if if foul goes against them, they just pick up themselves, they're up and running.
Anyway, naturally, most of them are just disciplined. They are very. You can't pick any player to say, no, this one looks like okay, she hasn't got the discipline. That's the way anyway, that's the way maybe they've been brought up. But like you have said, okay, too much of anything sometimes is also bad. But again, some of these things, when you when you look at them, you'll find that you'll just be wasting your time arguing with the referee, because normally they say a referee's decision is final. So whatever you do, he or she will not change the decision unless otherwise, if maybe VAR comes in, maybe they are the ones who can actually assist.
All right, let's talk about the shootouts versus Senegal. To tell you the truth, coach, everyone who was watching those games was saying, don't let the ladies go for the shootouts, because we've seen in the group stages we had two penalties. One was
Yeah.
missed by Ochumba, and the other one was missed by Lushomo against Togo. And everyone was saying these girls can't play penalties. But on that day, the story was different. How was the mood in the camp, and how did you prepare the girls for the shootout?
Yeah, you see, like we normally say, each time you lose or you win, you still have to go back to the drawing board. Why are we making this mistake? Why is it that our players have started missing penalties? So when you go back to the drawing board, you identify players who are supposed to take penalties. In fact, in this case, when you go to a tournament, everyone should be made to take a penalty during the training sessions. So after the two misses, it was every session, everyone, whether morning or afternoon, everyone was given at least two penalty kicks. So the first one, maybe you can say, okay, you can score anywhere you want. The second one, you tell the goalkeeper that I'm taking this to the right, and you should take that ball to the right. So the idea behind is that if one is even if the goalkeeper knows that okay, this one is taking the ball to the right, it has to be firm and strong, so that by the time the goalkeeper is realizing, the ball is already in the net. So we did a lot of practice on the penalties. So I'm sure that also helped us against the Senegal.
Thank you, coach. Then what we saw, Hezron Nali saved one of the penalties for Senegal. And then the next thing we see is that she's taking a penalty. Did you shout to her that you are the next one to take this penalty? Because immediately she started walking away from the 18 area. After that, you just saw her coming back to get the penalty. Did you shout? Did you make any changes there?
No, we gave the referee the list, so they had to follow the names according to the numbers. So Ezio was the last kicker. So she knew she was going to. If she knew she was going to take a penalty before penalty shootout started. So everybody all the 5 players were taught. Number 1 is Chanda, number 2 will be this one, number 3 up to number 5. So it's not like she just wanted to take a penalty. No, she knew she was going to be the last one.
All right, coach. So Hazel picks up the ball, hits the back of the net. All the ladies are celebrating. What came into your mind knowing that now, for the first time in the history of Zambia, the women's national team, they're going to the World Cup?
What came into my mind was actually history making, because even on our part as technical bench, we were also looking at the CV. This one will change maybe my CV. This one will maybe okay, taking us to the World Cup was actually our target, our first target. Even before we were leaving, I said our P1 is qualifying to the World Cup. Then thereafter, that is when we are going to focus on the Africa Cup, because by then we'll have only 4 teams. So anyway, what came in my mind was, of course, naturally you have to celebrate joy.
All right, coach. Let's look at now the most frustrating game, which is the South Africa game, because first half we dominated play and everyone thought this would be an easy game for Zambia. Second half we saw a different ball game together. What happened there, coach?
Yeah, you see, South Africa, I think we have known each other very well. We have played against each other for, I mean, a lot of games. So, I'm sure it could have been better if we had played maybe extra time. But unfortunately enough, that couldn't happen because of what transpired after, is it 90 minutes or so. So South Africa is like you are playing a local derby. They don't fear us, we don't fear them. So it becomes like if we each time you meet, it's like you are playing a cup final. The other time we played South Africa was a friendly game at Nkoloma Stadium. We beat them 3-0. When they went back, they were not happy. They still wanted us to play another friendly game. So I'm sure, okay, like I've said, okay, they don't fear us. Whether we dominate or they dominate, they know this game is going to be 50-50. But on that particular day, I think we could have won that game in the first half. We had, I think, 2 sure chances or 3. The game could have ended in the first half, but unfortunately, we couldn't put the ball at the back of the net. So in the end, like you have said, the second half, it became now 50-50, something like a 50-50 affair. But I'm sure, okay, this time around, we should always beat South Africa. That should be the last time of beating us. I'm sure even the supporters, it's still fresh in their minds. Most of the people that we are meeting, they are talking about. They are still talking about that penalty, that game. So anyway, like I said earlier on, that referee's decision is final. So we cannot reverse that game. That game now is history. We just have to concentrate and look forward to meeting them again somewhere, especially where we are going.
Indeed, coach. Now, coach, after that game, we've lost 1-0. You go into the dressing room with the ladies, I'm sure it was quiet. Even as we were hosting the program here, it was very difficult for us to do the analysis after that game. Who spoke first in that dressing room, coach? Because I know it was everyone's morale was low. Who spoke first, and what was the words that went round in the dressing room after the game?
Yeah, the one who is supposed to speak first, obviously it's the coach or one of the coaches. So when we went to the dressing room, it's the same story. We tell them, okay, the game is over. Let's just focus on our next game. There's nothing that will going to change the result. So let's just forget about this game and look forward to the next game. Okay, others were still down, but we still continued talking to them until we left the dressing room. The following
Coach,
day.
you have not answered my question. Who broke the silence? Because I'm sure everyone was disappointed with the decided decision.
Everyone was disappointed, of course. I did break. Because if all of us keep quiet, then who is going to start encouraging the players? Because the players, they cannot do it on their own. So I decided to speak to the players.
What were your words, coach? And how was the mood in the dressing room? Because every time when you win, we know there is that jumping and everyone is cheering. But yes, if you lose fairly, it's different when somehow the referee's decision is not fair. How was the mood? And what were your words?
The mood wasn't I can say was bad. So what we did was we grouped together, pray, then tell them that this game is now over. Let's focus on the next game.
Thank you very much, coach. So with that mood, the next game was against Nigeria, and these are the defending champions. Then, I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to prepare. But how did you lift up that mood in the team to believe that we can beat even the champions?
Yeah, because even the champion was also beaten, so I'm sure they had the same problem. I don't know how they sorted their problem was. I don't know how it was sorted out in their camp, but we just concentrate on our problem. So, so I think okay. With Nigeria, because when we met them in Ghana, they actually beat us 4.
Yes, 4-0.
Yes, and when we look at the performance of the team, our team, we said, you see, we were able to contain them in the first half. They managed to score. They score us when we had only about 3 minutes left to go to halftime. So meaning that we can still contain them, and with the little experience or the experience that we have now gained, we can be able to challenge them and possibly win them. Because some of the Nigerian players are actually aging, and we've got a team of an average age of 21 or so. So we did, like I said, we talked about their weaknesses, their strength, and everything. Then when we met them, everyone was focused. We should not give them chance, although they've got experienced players, they've got more professional players than us, but with the experience that we have now gained, we should be able to beat them. That's how we actually managed to win the champions. And I'm sure we are also, maybe for your information, we are also champions in one way or another. We represented Africa at the Olympics. We were the only African country during that competition. So we shouldn't actually think about others as superior than us. Even as we are at that level now. We are at a different level.
Thank you very much. Let me give it up to Lawrence.
Okay, Coach, we have gone through the whole tournament now with Reuben. We've gone through the whole tournament and we are here now. Next is the World Cup. Coach,
yeah.
How would you like the preparations to go before the World Cup? If it were up to you, how would you like it to go?
You know, there was one time when I attended a World Cup women's soccer analysis. It was actually held in Italy, and they asked the American coach who won the World Cup. He said, "How did you prepare? How did you prepare your team for this tournament?" And you know what she told us? She said they started preparing the time they qualified, and they managed to play 20 international matches. 20 international matches. And before that, they were camped somewhere. They changed camp. They were like moving from one continent to another. So they played almost in every continent, which I feel can also happen to us. But it's not all that easy. You are talking about money. There's also money involved. But I would want our team to at least have more than 5 international friendly matches before. I'm sure high profile. These other friendlies, like playing Malawi, they've become strong now. I'm sure they can also help. These can also be considered. So, I think.
Coach, I want you to understand that at this point in time, the expectations of this country from this team are just so high right now. Everybody's talking about, actually, everybody is even saying it's possible we can even win it. And this is just how much hope the Zambians have put in this team. From from the performance at the Africa Cup of Nations, and the general belief is that actually this team should have gone on to win the Africa Cup of Nations trophy, had it not been for that error by the referee. Now, when we look at preparations, as you've put it, you say at least a minimum of 5 international friendlies. What kind of teams are we looking at?
We are looking at teams like playing France, England. I'm sure you have seen now these ladies are now playing. If you are following the Euro for women, I'm sure you have seen Spain are playing, England, Germany, France, and even Sweden, although they lost to England. I'm sure if we target those teams, we target 1 or 2, and then on the other continent again we target teams like South America. There's Brazil there, and any other team. Then one somewhere on the other continent. I think we'll be able to.
Awesome stuff. At this point, let me request the director to bring us some messages as I ask you, Coach. What is your minimum expectations at the World Cup? You as a coach.
Minimum expectation
goes to the West. The minimum this team can achieve.
The minimum should be, I think, quarterfinal.
Awesome stuff. I love the fact that you are setting such high standards. And now, there is one aspect of the technical bench I've actually noticed and I've come to appreciate. I'll give it to you, Coach Bruce. You read the game and played according to the demands of the game. For example, we were here talking about the game against Nigeria, where the Nigerians are big in stature, and you tried by all means to have the girls play the game on their feet, not high balls. And to me, that was very brilliant, and it shows how much the technical team has invested in understanding the opponent. Now, how much investments do we need also as a country in this technical bench? Are we looking at some of the technical bench that needs to upgrade probably their licenses and do their practicals and all that? Are we thinking in those lines?
I think on that one can be handled by the administrators. I'm sure they know some still need to upgrade, and but okay, this time around, even on your own, things are now easy to access. If only you can use your money, you'll be able to read and do whatever is required.
And I must say it was a great show from the goalkeeping department as well. We saw Hazel being sick in the semi-final against South Africa, and Catherine coming in, and Catherine putting up a very wonderful shift. It was as if it was just the same goalkeeper. How easy does it become when it comes to selection, when you know and every player is able to perform almost at the same level as the
other? Sorry, can you come again?
How easy is it for you to select the starting 11 every game, knowing that even the other players on standby are able to perform almost at the same level?
Yeah, even if they can perform at the same level, but there must be at least the first choice and the second choice. So The most important thing that maybe I can tell you is that you just need to create competition, especially during training sessions. People should work or should fight for positions, not where others want to say, no, it's only me who can be number one. Catherine is, I think she, when we went to COSAFA, if not sorry, the other one who is not here, she's got a house to look, or a home to look after. So even that one used to be very, very good. When we went to Chile, people started saying, no, this one should be the first choice. But we knew the first choice was Nali. Catherine, when we went to COSAFA, I think she was the one in goals. There was a game that I'm sure the game that we beat South Africa, she was the one in goals. It was through penalties. So it's actually good if you start creating competition in the team. If you don't create competition, then you will have a problem who to replace when one is injured. Because if there is a competition, you'll be able to say, okay, this position, the person who can actually play, if this one is not here, is this one, A, B, C, D. So it becomes, that way it becomes easy.
And coach, when you look at club level for these players, are you expecting a good number of them to actually, those who are locally based, to actually have their services acquired by foreign? And how does it work for the national team when that happens?
The line has started breaking. I can't pick your question.
Can you hear me, coach? Can you hear me, coach?
Okay, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm saying when it comes to club level,
mm-hmm.
Are you expecting a number of the locally based players to have their services acquired by foreign based teams, and even those who are in foreign countries maybe move to better teams? And how does it work for the national team if that happens?
Yeah, okay. If that happens, anyway, there's no problem with the national team because it's actually simple and straightforward. FIFA have given a period of those playing abroad, outside the country, the days that they are supposed to report when you have an assignment, and the dates should be on a FIFA calendar, not any time that you want. Even like if you just want a friendly game tomorrow, then you happen to say no, let's go the professionals. They won't allow you. There are dates fixed to say okay, these dates they can be allowed. So I think we would want our players to play to play, especially in Europe. We are not saying they cannot play here because in Europe maybe they are better than us. There are same players who are better here. We just take them to Europe. So when we take them to Europe, the only difference is maybe the conditions.
Yeah.
The conditions there are better than us by far. That is that's a fact. So when they go there, we are just looking at the conditions. But if it means remaining here, they can still remain and play the same football they can go and play in Europe. But we would want them to play where there is actually stiff competition.
Okay.
Here, locally, we can say, okay, others, they need to mature. Like, okay, we have just started our women soccer not long ago, but our friends started women football a long time ago. So it's just an exposure when they go to Europe or any other continent.
Okay, the director, can you bring some messages with questions, because we are out of time. We need to allow the coach to take a rest. So only comments that have got questions, if possible, and Reuben can go through the questions.
All right. One of the questions is coming from Lance, and actually I had prepared a similar question, Coach. Let me put it in the way I wanted to ask it, Coach. Your CV now is very rich. It's very heavy after this qualification to the World Cup. Should Barcelona or any team in Europe say, Coach, we need your services here? Are we expecting you to remain, or you fly out to the new challenge?
Anyway, on that one, of course, we need to negotiate. I cannot just go just because they want me to go to Barcelona. No, I also need to know the conditions. If conditions are good, I can go. But if if they can be counter, I'm sure there wouldn't be any need of me going. I'll stick around.
All right. Another question from Lance is asking, when should we expect the preparations for the World Cup? When are we going to see the friendlies and all that? When are we supposed to see the preparations starting?
Okay, it won't actually take long, because very soon we'll be engaged in the COSAFA tournament. So I'm sure it will start towards the end of next month, August. So even that COSAFA will treat it as part of the preparation for the World Cup. That's where maybe we'll try some other local players, so that we see who can make it into the senior.
All right, Coach. I seem to have run out of time. Let me ask you the last question. All right, seem to have a bad feedback coming from someone.
Reuben. Coach, can you hear us?
No.
What of me? Can you hear me, Coach?
Sound is just vibrating.
Okay, I think he's getting a very bad sound on his phone.
You're not clear.
Can you hear me now?
Still not clear.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach, for coming. We need to close the program. This has been a special edition of Ubuntu Sports, and we're looking at Zambia's WAFCON success. And I hope you are happy about that tournament, because Zambia got the bronze medal. Lawrence, thank you very much for coming through. It was a good interview and it was a good program. To our viewers, remember always that Ubuntu Sports ni chintu chabwino maningi. Good night.